You're in a room full of people who love you, and you've never felt more alone. They're talking, smiling, present, but you might as well be behind glass. They see you, but they don't see you, and you can't figure out why. It's not that they're cruel. They ask how you are, they check in, they care. But when you try to answer honestly, something stops you. You edit yourself in real time. You say, "I'm fine," when you're falling apart. You laugh at the right moments. You perform the version of yourself they're comfortable with. And afterward, you feel exhausted, not from socializing, but from hiding. Here's what's happening in your brain. You're experiencing what psychologists call chronic self-concealment. It's the exhausting act of monitoring what parts of yourself are safe to reveal. And it doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from a very specific learning history. You're not too sensitive. You're not asking for too much. You've just learned, somewhere along the way, that the real you is too much for people. Maybe when you were younger, you shared something vulnerable, and it was dismissed. You're being dramatic. Other people have it worse. Why are you so serious? Or maybe you watched someone else get punished for being authentic, and your brain took notes. Psychologist Dr. John Bowlby called this attachment learning. Your nervous system doesn't just remember what happened to you. It predicts what will happen based on patterns. So now, even around safe people, your brain sounds the alarm. Don't go there. It's not safe. You're not broken. You're protected by a system that's working overtime. Here's the neuroscience. When you hide parts of yourself, you're activating two competing brain systems. The first is your social engagement system. It wants connection, belonging, to be known. The second is your threat detection system. It scans for danger, rejection, judgment. And when threat wins, it doesn't shut you down completely. That would be too obvious. Instead, it does something sneaky. It turns down the volume on your authenticity, just enough to keep you safe, just enough to keep you hidden. Neuropsychologist Dr. Stephen Porges calls this social camouflage. You're present, but not fully. There, but not really. And the cruel irony, the more you hide, the more invisible you feel, because you know the version of you they're connecting with isn't the real one. So how do you become visible again? Not by forcing vulnerability, but by slowly recalibrating your threat detection system. Here are 4 principles rooted in psychology. 1. Start with micro-disclosures. You don't have to spill everything at once. Research by psychologist Dr. Arthur Aaron shows that intimacy builds through gradual self-disclosure. Small truths, low stakes. I've actually been struggling with something lately. That comment bothered me more than I showed. Test the water. See if they lean in or pull back. Your nervous system needs evidence that it's safe, and evidence comes from small experiments. 2. Notice who reflects you back. Not everyone has the capacity to truly see you. Some people are too preoccupied with their own internal world. Some lack the emotional vocabulary. Some weren't taught how to hold space. Psychologist Dr. Sherry Turkle writes about the capacity for presence. Not everyone has it, and that's not your fault. Stop trying to be seen by people who aren't looking. Find one person who asks follow-up questions, who remembers what you said last time, who doesn't fill silence with advice. That's your starting point. 3. Externalize the pattern. Name what's happening out loud. To yourself first. I notice I shut down when conversations go deep. I pretend I'm fine because I'm afraid of being too much. Psychologist Dr. Dan Siegel calls this name it to tame it. When you label an emotional pattern, you activate your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that can observe without reacting. and observation creates distance. Distance creates choice. You're no longer trapped in the pattern. You're watching it happen, and watching means you can change it. 4. Repair the visibility wound. This is the hardest part. At some point, you have to grieve. Grieve the times you weren't seen, the moments you needed someone to ask twice, the vulnerability that went unmet. Psychologist Dr. Jonas Webb writes about childhood emotional neglect, not abuse, not trauma, just absence. And absence leaves scars too. Let yourself feel the weight of that, not to wallow, but to validate. You weren't invisible because you're forgettable. You were invisible because the people around you didn't know how to look. Here's the simple mental model. You hide when you believe authenticity is dangerous. You feel invisible because hidden parts can't be seen. You heal by teaching your nervous system that visibility is survivable. Not all at once, not with everyone, but in small doses, with safe people, until your brain learns a new pattern. I can be seen, and I can be safe. You don't need to perform anymore. The right people won't ask you to shrink. They'll make space for all of it. The messy parts, the quiet parts, the parts you've been hiding for years. You were never too much. You were just around people who couldn't hold enough. Start looking for the ones who can. They're looking for you too.